All right, so we're going to take a look at average rate of change, AROC, from a graph. So how do I find the average rate of change from a graph? Once again, average rate in your formula sheet says the change in the y value divided by the change in the x values for two distinct points on the graph. What that means is they're going to give you these two distinct points on the graph that they want you to solve for. So what is the average rate of change? Well, that sounds like the changes in the y value divided by the changes in the x value. That sounds a lot like the slope formula, because look at the slope formula. The change in the y values when you subtract them divided by the change in the x values when you subtract them. So the average rate of change is the slope. However, it's over two distinct points, meaning they give you two distinct points to use. All right, so that's what we are going to take a look at. And so therefore, when we're writing our notes, we're going to, again, start with the what AROC is, or average rate of change, which is, again, the change in the y values divided by the change in the x values. And what you're going to do with that is you are going to put parentheses over the y values and parentheses where the x values are. And once you do that, you're just going to stick it in the calculator and it's going to give you an answer. All right, so you're going to, again, it's over two distinct points, meaning that they give you the points that they want you to find this from. So if you look at the question, it says the function y of f of x is graphed below. What is the average rate of change of the function f of x over this interval? They have to give you the two distinct points. So what you're going to start by doing is labeling your two distinct points. So this is your x values, okay? So the points that you're using are your x values. This is your first x value, and this is your second x value. So just in order, you know it's x because it has x right there, your first one and your second one. So they give you my two distinct values. So what you're going to do now is just simply put the two distinct values in the formula. So it says start off with x2. So if I go to x2, it says -3. And whatever it says, you're putting it in the parentheses. If it has a negative, put it in the parentheses. Then it says x1 is the next one that I need on the bottom, which is -6. And I'm putting exactly what I see in the parentheses. Do not drop a negative. All right, so now the issue becomes, well, how do I find my two distinct y values? Well, they're the ones that match with your x values. So I want to know, what is my y value when my x value is -3? And you simply do that from a graph. Now, I'm going to do a few examples of this before we actually do this question, because I want to ensure that you can pull the information from the graph. All right, so we're going to take a look at a different one for just a quick second. All right, this one is asking, what is my y value when x is 1? So I'm going to go to my x-axis, then find 1. So that's 0, 1, 2. So this is 1, right? All right, now, once I'm on my x value, I need to find my y value on the graph. If I go up, I have to go up and down, because if I move this way, I'm now at x equals 2. So if I do this, or if I do that, or if I do this, if I don't stay straight, I'm no longer at 1. So I have to stay straight, which means I have to go up or down to hit the graph. If I go up, will I ever hit the graph? No. If I go down, do I hit the graph? Yes. As soon as I hit the graph, so this is still 1. I cannot do this, because if I come here, now I'm at 2, right? If I do this, I'm at 0. So again, you have to go straight up and down until you hit the graph. So I'm going to come right down, hit the graph. I'm going to go to my left to hit my y, because again, I cannot move, in a different direction. I have to keep straight. So I'm going to hit my y is -4. So when x is 1, y is -4. Pause the video real quick and tell me, can you decipher what is y when x is 6? Pause the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So x is equal to 6. So here is x. I go to 6. Again, if I move in any other direction except straight up and down, I've moved away from 6. So I'm going to stay up and down. So if I go down, I'm going to hit the graph right here. When I hit the graph right there, I stay straight again, and it's going to be -12. All right, let's practice another question, because this is going to be the biggest thing that you need to do. So again, pause the video, practice again. How do I find what is my y value when x is -3? So again, pause the video, try it. All right, so let's take a look at it. X is -3, so I'm going to go to -3. So it goes -1, -2, -3 right here. If I go up, I'm never going to find the graph, so I'm going to go directly down. So if I go down, and then I hit the graph right here, I stop right there, and I go look at what is my y value at this point, -40. So when x is -3, y is -40. All right, pause the video again and tell me, what is the y value when x is 3? Let's take a look at it. So when x is 3, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. When x is 3, if I go down, straight down, I never hit the graph, right? But if I go up, I hit the graph right here. Once you hit the graph, you go directly to the y-axis to see what that value is. So it's right between 40 and 60. What is the number between 40 and 60? 50, because it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So when x is 3, y is 50. All right. Let's practice just a couple more, and then I think we should be okay. All right, so again, pause the video and tell me what is the y value when x is negative 5. All right, so I'm going to go to x. I'm going to go to negative 5. And again, if I go up, do I hit the graph? Nope. If I go down, do I hit the graph? Yes, I do. So I hit the graph right here, right? So when x is, oh, I'm at negative 4. I apologize. Negative 5. All right, so if I hit the graph right here, and then I go directly to the y-axis, okay? You go directly to the y-axis. So I'm at this number. Well, what is this number? Well, let's look at how it's changing. To look at how it's changing, it's easier to do it in the positive than come to the negative. So if I go 1, 2, that's not right. So if I go 2, 4, that's right. So it's changing by 2. So I'm going to go negative 2, negative 4. That works. So again, if I go down from my negative 5 to the graph and then go down to the y, go directly to the y, it's going to be negative 2. So when x is negative 5, y is negative 2. All right, once again, pause the video. Try this last one before we go back to our question. What is the y value when x is negative 4? Try it. All right, so when x is negative 4, so it's right here. If I go up, I'm never going to hit the graph. But if I go down, I hit the graph right here. So once I hit the graph, I go directly to see what my y value is, and it is negative 4. All right, so that's how you find your values. Now we're going to go back to our actual question. So the value that I'm looking for, and again, you're going to pause the video and try it yourself. The value that I'm looking for is negative 3. So when x is negative 3, what is my y? So again, we're going to label our axis since I can't see it. So this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. So when x is negative 3, so when x is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, right here. Well, if I go up, do I ever hit the graph? I do not. But if I go down, I hit the graph right here. So I'm going to go down. Once I hit the graph, I go directly to the y value. So down and here. And what is that y value? To calculate that y value, it's easier to do it in the positives and come back. So if I go 1, 2, that doesn't work. If I go 2, 4, that doesn't work. If I go 5, 10, that works. So each box is 5. So if I go down 1, right, that's what? Negative 5. So when x is negative 3, y is negative 5. This coordinate here is negative 3, negative 5. So my x value is negative 3, my y value is negative 5. So negative 3 goes with negative 5. All right, now we're going to do another one. So, and again, draw your line just so that you can, you can see what the line is doing, right? So just make sure you draw it. Change my color really quickly. All right, then we're going to do our next one. So I want negative 6. So here's x, go to negative 6. Here's negative 6. All right. If I go down, am I ever going to hit anything? No. So this one, I'm going to go up. Once I hit the graph, I stop. And then I go directly to the y and look at what is this y value here. Well, again, it's in the middle, so it goes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this coordinate is negative 6, negative 6, positive 25. So my x value is negative 6, my y value is 25. So negative 6 goes with 25. That is probably going to be the most complicated part about average rate of change from a graph, because once you can read it off the graph, you're now putting it in the calculator. So remember, make a note, hit, divide first. Okay, hit, divide first in your calculator, because if you don't, it's not going to come out the way you want. Then you're going to put it in parentheses, minus parentheses, over parentheses, minus parentheses. Then you're just going to simply put in the numbers. So the top number is negative 5. Top right is 25. Bottom left is negative 3. Bottom right is negative 6. So you're literally just putting in the numbers. So my average rate of change is negative 10. And that's it. Let's practice.